Welcome to this series of Bible studies prepared by Salvation Army women from around the world who strive to put their faith into practice. The theme of these studies is transformed into God's image. We believe that anyone who puts their faith in Jesus can be transformed. My name is Sarah Tam, and I am from Hong Kong. I would like to share with you the 11th in this series of 12 studies. Each study includes 4 sessions to help you explore and discover more on the theme. Under the heading Transformed in Our Witness, these are my thoughts based on Matthew's Gospel, chapter 5, verses 13 to 16. Our key verse is verse 16, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." In this passage, Jesus describes the roles and functions of his followers in the world. The first role is to be salt. One of the functions of salt is to preserve. The follower of Jesus should help prevent the world from becoming worse, with our lives being an example to others who struggle between godly and worldly living, seeing the possibility of overcoming worldly or immoral living. People like to enjoy delicious food, and so another function of salt is to give flavor. Jesus talks about salt in Mark 9, verse 50, and says, "Have salt among yourselves, and be at peace with each other." In Colossians 4, verse 6, Paul uses salt to remind his readers that a conversation should be full of grace and to bring harmony in our relationships with others. It echoes with the teaching of being peacemakers. The second role of the disciple is to be light. Jesus says very explicitly that the function of light is to help people praise God for their good deeds of his people. Matthew used these 2 illustrations following the teaching about persecution to Jesus' followers. At that time, the disciples were in difficult circumstances. But Jesus' teaching of being salt and light reminds them how they should react to pressure. They should maintain their godly nature, otherwise they would be like salt that has lost its flavor. These 2 illustrations present a dilemma to Christians today: being invisible and visible. Stephen Dre describes the basic nature of salt as adding flavor and becoming invisible. Invisibility is not due to shame about our identity. Some people would like to hide their Christian identity because of peer pressure. It is also not owing to the fear of exposure, especially when we look around the international situation today. These 2 reasons obviously do not glorify God as Jesus expects. Invisibility means our good deeds should direct people's attention to God, not to ourselves. People may firstly see our witness, but later come to understand the motives behind what we do. The focus of their attention then changes. On the other hand, light makes things visible. When we hold a lamp, we were visible to others. However, if we stare at a light source, such as the sun, we cannot see the surroundings clearly. To a certain extent, we are invisible too. When we are light to the world, we are not so much attracting people to us as helping them to see clearly what is happening in the world. When we carry out our social responsibility, we light up the world to reveal injustice, exploitation, discrimination, and other kinds of human weaknesses leading to the problems of the world. Whether we are visible or invisible, we are entrusted by Jesus with the responsibility to witness for God in the world. When we face all kinds of pressure or unfavorable situations, our response will show others what God is like. Our response may not agree with the world's standards, but it proves to the world that there are alternatives for people who want change. And this change comes from the power of God. Here are some questions for you to think about or discuss in a group. It is suggested that you pause to reflect after each question. Perhaps writing down your thoughts might be helpful. When you have considered all the questions, listen to the conclusion statement, which will help you put into practice what you have heard. Question 1. What issues are there in your community that you think are unjust and need to be corrected? Question 2. Do you have anything hindering you from witnessing about God in public? Question 3. How do we witness for God to the people who have hurt us? In this month, pray for your enemies every day. Currently, I am the Assistant Undersecretary for the South Pacific and East Asia Zone at IHQ. It is an ongoing challenge to witness for God amidst my daily hectic desk work. But I experience His power of transformation in my daily devotions. Our next study is about being transformed in our unity.